In today's news, WEF says 2023 recession likely. The RDA and Education Ministry in talks on a school maintenance plan. 4 dogs have been put to sleep following attacks on residents and livestock. We have the details of this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Hon, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant. Thanks for joining us. Beginning our newscast on the local scene here in Tortola, 4 dogs at the center of a recent attack on persons and livestock were put to sleep over the weekend following an order by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. More on this report.
The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed the operation in a statement to the media on Monday, January 16th, stating that the latest dog attack, which was reported, occurred in Pleasant Valley on Saturday. While they said, and I quote, "A neighbor's dog entered an adjacent property and bit the foot of a guest of the property owner. The property owner reported that the dog, which is unregistered, had been seen off-leashed in the neighborhood and had been on his property in the past." Where the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force continued, the owner of the dog was subsequently reported for having an unregistered dog and warned of prosecution in relation to injuries sustained to the victim, end quote. The police said the other 3 dogs were also unregistered and belonged to a Seacoast Bay resident. On several occasions, the 3 dogs were reported to have killed livestock in the area, in addition to attacking and injuring tenants who reside on the dog owner's property. While following the incident, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is reminding residents of their responsibility to secure their dogs to prevent them from endangering members of the public or livestock. While they said, and I quote, "Well, the Pounds and Livestock Bans Act 2004 makes provision for any animal found straying in a public place or trespassing on any private land to be captured and impounded. But the Dogs, Prevention of Injury to Persons, Livestock and Poultry Act 2001 further states that officers are in the right to destroy, either by shooting or put down in some other manner, which will cause as little pain as possible, any dangerous dog," end quote. But the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force also reminded all dog owners that they must register their dogs with the Department of Agriculture and place the ID registration tags on the collar of the dog. Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Recovery and Development Agency, are devising a maintenance plan, they say, that will help aim to keep the recently built Elmore Stout High School, as well as other schools across the territory, mold-free. Our Kamal Haynes has this report.
Education Minister Honorable Shari De Castro made the announcement recently, stating that the plan will include the ministry seeking additional resources in order to be effective.
Yes, a plan is in place that is currently being upscaled, given the addition of this new facility through conversations with the Recovery and Development Agency alongside the ministry's maintenance unit. We are seeking to solidify that plan, which will require additional resources in terms of personnel, and I'm in discussions with the Minister of Finance to ensure that that is supported so that we could ensure the security and the safety as well as the longevity of these educational facilities.
De Castro also provided additional information from the findings of a report that stems from an assessment that was recently conducted on schools across the territory. She said it indicated that the mold issue in schools was linked to infrastructure damages on several buildings, which allowed for water to leak and settle inside the schools.
Of course, one of the things that were being done is that schools were being cleaned. So contractors were commissioned to clean schools. However, based on the report received, we realized that it was beyond just cleaning. We had leakage and water entry through roofs on many schools, and we have subsequently sought to ensure that that is rectified. Thus far, since during the last term of 2022, the 3 schools have been identified, and the works have been completed in terms of sealing of roofs so that we could limit the water entry, and subsequently were cleaned, and we have gotten successful remarks in relation to any issues that would have been previously present. So we seek to continue based on the additional schools identified to ensure that we move with that same procedure to seek to remedy this matter that has been long-standing in our educational facilities.
In addition, the minister spoke on whether any other infrastructure issues have come to light out of the report.
Specifically in the report, I believe many instances has been highlighted. It's mostly based on lack of maintenance over the years. And of course, that speaks to the reality of not only funding allocation for maintenance, but also having the bodies, the maintenance officers, to be able to provide the requisite maintenance. We have sought to address that in this year's budget, and we will be seeking to ensure that we can even advance that to have the additional personnel required. So as we construct new buildings, we not only need funding for maintenance, but funding for individuals to actually be able to carry out the maintenance in collaboration with potential contractors, given the magnitude of work that is needed. So overall, I believe we are moving hastily along in that regard.
Stressing on the importance of the safety of students and teachers, the Castro said she will not apologize for any decision that is deemed controversial that is made to protect their livelihood and safety.
We are paying keen attention to the safety environment that our teachers and students operate in. Any decision that is made for a school closure or demolition is done based on reports from technical persons, and I do not apologize for doing controversial things such as these, because I believe it is imperative that our students and teachers are in environments that are conducive to teaching and learning, and we have to take proactive steps. And if we do not seek to identify the problems, they will never be addressed. So this government is committed to continuing on this path, and we look forward to seeing continued progress in the maintenance and reconstruction of our schools.
Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Heen.
Thank you, Kamal. On a recent episode of Talking Points, a radio program, Minister for Health and Social Development, as well as 8th District Representative, the Honorable MARLON PENN, was a guest, and he, of course, addressed a number of issues affecting the country. Moderators began by asking Minister PENN whether or not he will be seeking re-election and why members of the 8th District should cast a vote for him once again.
And yes, I'm running again for re-election to the next House of Assembly. As a member of the 8th District. We've done a lot of good work in the 8th District over the years. We've been able to do a lot of good infrastructural work. I think we have some unfinished work that we need to continue, particularly the stadium that we started, that I believe is still going to be very impactful as it relates to sports tourism in our territory. We now have on the final leg where we've now gotten the tenders for that particular stadium. As you know, that was a public-private partnership, one of the first of its kind, between the government of the Virgin Islands and the BVI Football Association. There's now some close to $7 to $8 million that's going to be injected in terms of building the facility that's going to house that stadium. It's going to house the offices for BVI Football Association. It's also going to house BVI Olympic Committee, who's a partner. And we're coming off the World Cup, we see all the excitement and energy and socioeconomic opportunities
indeed.
That will come from games of that sort, or regional games that could be hosted and bring opportunity not just to the 8th District, but opportunities to the entire territory, as well as the infrastructural issues. While we've made some progress, we still have a lot more work to be done. And we need to ensure that the sewage and the road infrastructure is addressed in a significant way in our community. We've fixed a lot of the roads. There are some tertiary roads that still need some opportunity, need some attention and fixing. But it's a host of things, and I think not just the 8th District, but territory-wide. I think economically, coming out of the storms, coming out of Irma Maria, the floods, and COVID, I think we need, the BVI is poised for a real rebound economically and otherwise. And I believe we have an opportunity to set the BVI on the right trajectory going forward.
On the matter of infrastructure and who residents should hold accountable for such issues, when posed with the question as to who residents should point fingers at for lack of action in this regard, PENN had this to say.
Government's a continuum. I think all of us have a responsibility to address the issues that we meet. I think I am not one who's going to say it's not my fault, it's not that one's fault. I think we just need to get it done. And that's why I've been advocating from day one. We just need to get those issues sorted out. A lot of that work started under our administration when we were there from 2011 to 2015. As you know, the roads from the bridge to Parliament was totally resurfaced. We put proper drainage in. We installed a sewage line that ran straight into Parliament. And if you look at those roads, you will see once you do the proper infrastructural changes, the roads stand up. They stood up after Hurricane Zoma and Maria. You could see that road does not have a single pothole on that road. And it went through the storms, it went through the floods, because they had the proper infrastructure in place. We just need to continue that process. It's going to be costly, but if you do it right the first time, you don't have to continue redoing it over and over. We just need to continue along that same trajectory.
On the matter of sewage lines, which has been of great concern to the people of the 8th District as well as the entire territory, when asked as to when this will be adequately addressed, PENN simply said he will not be campaigning on this matter as it simply needs to be taken care of now.
That's not something I'm going to campaign on because I believe it just needs to get done. I think when we were there, when I got in 2011, we did significant amount of work to move that along. Having been in government for the first 3.5 years of this term, there was, we had COVID, we had some other challenges, but we had no excuse to progress the process. It has not progressed.
I think if I remember correctly, there were some complications with the Bywater contract, and you needed to work through that. Would that have contributed to any delay with that project?
That wouldn't have impacted what happened what needed to happen in East End.
Okay.
The funding was available. The monies that went to the Pair Park came back, and the monies were there. A majority of those funds were there. I know that's been a campaign talking point for many campaign election cycles, at least 2 cycles. But the reality is that the money was there for us to move forward. Like I said, I am not here to point fingers. I think the people of the 8th District and the people of the 7th District deserve an apology for us not doing our work and moving that process forward. I think we have a responsibility, no matter who is it, to move those things along. And I am committed to ensuring that those particular projects and those things that impact the lives of the people in that community get done.
Now, viewers, as the campaign season is expected to intensify in the coming weeks, PENN was asked what distinguishes him from other candidates or representatives.
I'm committed, and my concern and my only concern is what's best for the people of my community and the people of this territory. I've been diligent in ensuring that the needs of the people are highlighted, ensuring that I present solutions, not just criticize. When I was in opposition, I was very critical of the government and the things that they used to do and how they used to do it. But I brought forward solutions. When we talked about the economic recovery, I brought forward a plan. I brought forward an approach, a suggestion on how we can move forward. And that's how I believe that we should move forward. We should be constructive in our criticism, but we should also bring forward solutions on the way forward.
When 284 News returns, we have more local news. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
That's out. That's 6. That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer in line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
Sonny.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man, to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for sticking with us. Continuing on the local scene, talk show host Cromwell Edwinka Smith, host of Umoja, called for more aggressive funding for cancer prevention and treatment and the youth empowerment program ahead of the Rotary Club activity seeking to donate to these causes. Focusing mainly on the issue of cancer in the territory, Smith lamented on a worsening situation in which the number of cancer diagnoses made in the BVI is growing and called for investigation into the causes of this trend.
Over the last several months, we've had a lot of passings. And we continue over the years, actually. And it seems to be, let me just say, persons are beginning to think that we have an environmental problem that's contributing to the development of cancer, seeing as how it's been proliferating at the rate it has been. And so we need investigations, funding to look at the environment to see where in what environment is causing the increase in cancer patients.
At the time, Smith was speaking to Mrs. Lorna Smith, OBE, representative of the Rotary Club of Tortola, on the club's Grand Affair event set to take place in March. Proceeds from the event will be donated towards funding and improving cancer prevention and treatment and the expansion of the Youth Empowerment Center. Responding to talk show host, Lorna Smith shared similar sentiments on the need to investigate suspicions that environmental factors are contributing to the premise of cancers in the BVI.
You know, you can't really do very much in terms of improving your services unless you have data. So we should know, you know, I'm not saying that we're going to put our money into that kind of a research right now. But as far as possible, we should know whether there is evidence of this what our suspicions are.
The two also spoke on the importance of discussions, education, and continuing to build data on this topic.
So we're looking at checking the environment for signs of why there's a proliferation. We're also looking at prevention, whether it's diet or exercise. And also we're looking at the treatment because I'm sure, as you know, there are increasing variety of treatment modalities that is becoming more and more effective, and we need to be aware of some of those things. So all those things, the funding would help to investigate all of those areas that would serve as help you achieve your goal, help Rotary achieve your goal.
I would think so. We have been working, as we have for many years, in tandem and close collaboration with the Health Services Authority and specifically Dr. June Samuels in terms of this very area of improving cancer treatment. And we hope, Cromwell, that you would be kind enough to have her on a future program to talk about some of these points that you are making.
And of course, we will be conducting a feature interview with the members of the Rotary Club of Tortola on their Grand Affair in the coming weeks. Viewers, when 284 News returns, we take a look at some regional news. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talk about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. On the regional scene, the Caribbean Drought and Precipitation Monitoring Network has warned that countries in the north of the region should brace for a noticeable change as conditions shift into the traditional dry season. In a recent release, the network stated that the likelihood of normal to below normal rainfall in the northwest of the Caribbean from January to March and the likelihood of below normal rainfall from the end of March to May could result in short and long-term drought conditions. Several countries, including Cuba, Belize, and the Cayman Islands, have been urged to closely monitor their water resources in anticipation of considerably dry conditions. Meanwhile, surrounding countries of the east of the archipelago, spanning from Puerto Rico to Guadeloupe, have been warned that these conditions could have considerable impacts on groundwater, including streams, small rivers, irrigation ponds, and reservoirs. An area of the region spanning western Belize, Grand Cayman, central and eastern Cuba, and eastern Jamaica are also expected to develop a long-term drought condition by the end of May. Now, this would result in lower than usual water levels in large reservoirs, large rivers, and other groundwater, and the release continued to add. Now, traditionally, the dry season for the Caribbean region spans from February through June. The World Economic Forum's chief economist outlook has predicted an increasing likeliness that a global recession will come about in 2023. Following a survey in which 2/3 of chief economists from private and public sectors spoke in favor of this possibility. Now, according to a WEF release, the economists anticipate further money tightening in the United States and Europe throughout this year and continued impacts on the global economy as a result of geopolitical tensions. The survey found that the belief that a world recession is extremely likely has more than doubled among responders. There is a strong consensus that prospects for growth in 2023 are unfortunately quite bleak, particularly in the United States and Europe, and as such, 100% of the economists predict weak or very weak growth within Europe, and 91% predict weak or very weak growth within the United States. This new data shows a significant growth in support of these predictions compared to corresponding figures in September, the survey, which were at 86% for Europe and 64% for the United States. It is also anticipated that weak demand and high borrowing costs will weigh on firms along with higher input costs. These challenges are likely to cause multinational businesses to cut costs with the intention of reducing operational expenses. WEF Managing Director Sadia Zahu spoke on these predictions in the statement and urged leaders to look beyond today's crises, invest their money in food and energy innovation, education, and skills development and job creation, as these are high potential markets of tomorrow. She said, and I quote, "The current high inflation, low, high debt, and high fragment environment reduces incentives for the investment needed to get back to growth and rise living standards for the world's most vulnerable." Viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to follow us for our daily news updates at 284media.com, and of course, like us on Facebook at 284media, as well as 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. I will see you again tomorrow. Do have a beautiful rest of your Tuesday. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.